If you're thinking about buying the Deco S4 mesh Wi-Fi system to boost your home internet, hold on, because I'm about to reveal some surprising issues you probably haven't heard about yet. I'll dive deep into why this popular $95.97 setup, despite boasting seamless whole home coverage and speeds for up to 100 devices, may not deliver what you expect. But here's what surprised me. Many users love the idea, but reality isn't as rosy. Therefore, before you click buy, let me tell you the real story behind the Deco S4 and whether it's the right fit for you. First off, if your home suffers from Wi-Fi dead zones, or you want to manage multiple devices without juggling different network names, the Deco S4 claims to solve that by creating a mesh network up to 5,500 square feet. Sounds great, right? But hold on. Not everyone's experience matches the 4.5-star rating on Amazon. That high score makes you wonder if those glowing reviews are hiding something, or if the product targets specific user needs better than others. I'll also share a quick tip about setup that could save you hours of frustration, so stick with me. Let's start by understanding what the Deco S4 actually offers. Deco Mesh technology aims to blanket your home with fast, stable Wi-Fi. Unlike traditional routers or range extenders that struggle with signal drops or force you to use multiple network names, this system uses 3 units working in sync with a single network SSID and password. The theoretically smooth roaming means your devices switch to the strongest signal automatically as you move around. In theory, perfect. Plus, each Deco S4 unit packs 2 gigabit Ethernet ports and supports wired backhaul. Nerds speak for. It can handle wired connections between units for better speed and reliability if your home wiring allows it. Also, it claims compatibility with nearly every internet provider like AT&T, Verizon, Spectrum, and more. The AC1900 standard promises speeds up to 1900 Mbps and support for approximately 100 connected devices. Big families or smart home enthusiasts rejoice, right? But here's the catch. What the specs don't tell you is how it performs in real-life conditions. Despite slick app-based setup on iOS and Android, some users hit snags during installation. For example, the app can be temperamental, occasionally forcing restarts or manual resets that break the seamless experience promised in ads. Imagine trying to enjoy guest Wi-Fi with Alexa voice commands only to find your system rebooting mid-conversation. Talk about a modern comedy of errors. And yes, the robust parental controls are a nice touch to limit screen time and block inappropriate content with customized profiles. But if you're expecting ironclad control and no technical headaches, think again. Some reviewers report that the controls can be buggy or inconsistent, which isn't ideal when internet safety is at stake. You don't want your kids' top-secret browser history spilling into the family chat, right? No judgment, just saying. Now, before you conclude that I'm roasting the Deco S4 for no reason, here's the twist. Many users absolutely love it. The key differentiator is your home environment and internet needs. If you live in a medium-sized home with a straightforward layout, without thick walls or lots of interference sources, the Deco S4 usually delivers solid performance for a very reasonable price. But if your space is complex, or you demand the most stable connection possible for work and gaming, you might find it limiting. One of the biggest complaints: coverage isn't always consistent at the edges of the stated 5,500 square feet. That means while you may get good speeds near the units, you might still experience slowdowns or signal loss walking through some areas, especially in homes with brick or concrete walls. In other words, don't count on perfectly erasing dead zones in sprawling or unique layouts. Also, being a tri-band system would help ease network congestion, but the Deco S4 is a dual-band AC1900 device. That's not a deal-breaker for casual users, but gamers or streaming enthusiasts might hit bottlenecks when multiple devices try to hog bandwidth simultaneously. If you find yourself yelling at buffering screens during a crucial Netflix binge or losing multiplayer matches, it might not be the mesh system's fault alone, but it sure doesn't help. Here's a mini promise for you. I'm going to reveal practical tips on how to get the most out of the Deco S4 and when it's better to look for alternatives. Plus, a quick hack to enhance parental control reliability. Spoiler: don't rely solely on the app. Stay tuned. But before we go deeper, let's address who the Deco S4 is actually for. If you're a tech newbie wanting a simple, affordable way to cover a typical suburban home with a pleasant, central UI and decent speeds, it's an attractive choice. Especially for those who hate fiddling with complex router setups or toggling between multiple network names. If you have lots of smart devices and casual use like streaming, browsing, and work from home, Deco S4 may just fit your bill. However, if you're a power user craving rock-solid low-latency connections for online gaming, or a household with very thick walls or complicated layouts, you might want to reconsider. Also, those who need fine-tuned control over every network aspect could find the Deco's app-based approach limiting, and sometimes unpredictable. Speaking of unpredictable, my experience with the setup process was a roller coaster. The initial app-guided setup is straightforward. Plug in the main unit, download the app and follow prompts. But here's where things go sideways. During firmware updates or mesh node syncing, I encountered random disconnects requiring a manual reboot. And when that happens, Alexa commands like turning the guest network on or off become useless until resolved. If you're a bit like me, trying to impress your tech-phobic partner by casually saying, "Alexa, enable guest Wi-Fi," only to have her stare and say, "I'm sorry, I can't do that right now," you'll get the picture. Alexa and I have a complicated relationship. Still, once the system stabilizes, the coverage does improve and streaming devices maintain a strong connection across the house. Joke time: why don't routers ever get lost? Because they always follow the LAN. But seriously, with Deco S4, you might occasionally feel like you're chasing the perfect signal. So, what about those Ethernet ports on each Deco? That's actually a real highlight. If you have hardwired devices like desktops, game consoles, or smart TVs, plugging directly into the Deco unit's gigabit ports can dramatically reduce wireless hiccups. Remember, any Deco unit can function as the primary router with auto-sensing WAN/LAN ports. Nice flexibility if your ISP requires specific configurations. Another bright spot is the ability to mix and match TP-Link Deco units. So if in the future you upgrade to a newer model or add more nodes for better coverage, it all integrates smoothly under one unified network. This scalability makes Deco S4 a reasonable entry point into mesh Wi-Fi without locking you in. Let me rehook your attention. Did you know you can sometimes double your Deco S4's coverage simply by optimizing node placement? Instead of scattering them randomly or in dead zones, positioning units within sight of each other and away from microwaves or Bluetooth devices can reduce interference dramatically. This simple step can turn a mediocre experience into a surprisingly solid network. Now, here's a bonus joke to lighten the mood. What's a Wi-Fi router's favorite dance? The signal shuffle. Okay, I promise the next one is better. For all its pros, the Deco S4 isn't perfect. Some users report occasional drops when switching between nodes, breaking the seamless roaming claim. Others mention lack of advanced customization options for network security or port forwarding, which power users might miss. And while parental controls are helpful, relying solely on them without additional safeguards can leave gaps. Remember, technology can assist, but parenting still requires vigilance. Still, pricing-wise, the Deco S4 is very competitive, especially compared to higher-end mesh systems costing twice as much. For $95.97, you're getting a solid starter kit capable of handling a mid-sized home with decent performance. Buying 3 units at once covers more ground than a single router and cheaper range extenders that create fragmented networks. Here's my conclusion. You shouldn't avoid the Deco S4 outright, but don't expect it to be a magic bullet for every Wi-Fi woe. Instead, consider it a budget-friendly, user-friendly mesh solution that hits the sweet spot for most normal households. If you want a simple upgrade from your basic router, and your home layout isn't a maze of interference, you'll likely be happy. However, if you demand premium performance, love deep customization, or have a large or complex home, you might want to look at pricier models or tri-band systems. Alright, one last joke because we deserve it. Why did the Wi-Fi router break up with the modem? There was just too much interference in the relationship. Thanks for sticking through my review. If you want to grab the Deco S4 at the best price, check the link in the description. Prices change fast, so don't sleep on it if this sounds like your kind of Wi-Fi upgrade. And remember, mesh systems can dramatically improve your home network, especially if you know how to tweak placement and settings. I hope this honest review helps you make an informed choice. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more real-world product reviews. Until next time, may your Wi-Fi be strong and your buffering be minimal.